Navigating childcare as you return back to work. And I think this is the hardest part of being a working mom, especially a working mom who has to go back relatively quickly. We're filming here in the United States. We don't have paid maternity leave. A lot of times when we do, it's pretty short. And so I am actually here on my first day back at work today. My little one is home alone with a nanny for the first time. So all the feels there at 10 weeks. And it is an emotional process, and you have poured your heart into this baby, prayed for, planned for this baby, and then you have to leave them with someone else. And no matter how amazing they are not you. So today we're going to talk about what to do to interview daycares, nannies, babysitters, how to come up with the best situation for you so you can feel comfortable and confident going back to work. I'm Kelsey Boss, a pediatric physical therapist and mom of two, as well as the founder of Compleo. So we're doing this for the second time around, and both times we've ended up with different situations. So the first thing you need to decide, you alone, if you're a single parent or if you're parenting with someone else, with co-parent, what y'all need to decide is your budget. That's going to guide a lot of the decisions. And once you know the budget that you're able to spend on childcare, then you can start to look at, am I going to consider a daycare, a nanny? Are we going to adjust our work schedules, or are we going to do a combination of all of those things? So daycare, the benefits of daycare a lot of times is extended hours. So if you have a really strict schedule, if you're going to need 7:30 to 5 or 7:30 to 6 childcare, a daycare is a great option. A nanny's going to start to get really expensive if you're doing really full days, 5 days a week. Other benefits of daycare as they get older, there are other children, so there's a socialization aspect there. They are highly regulated, and so you can very easily look up on your state website. You should be able to look up anything that they have gotten in trouble for. That is something you definitely need to do when you're interviewing daycares, is go look at anything they've gotten in trouble for on their state website. And that's where you're going to find out if a child got left unattended, or if some of those scarier things that you see happen have happened at that daycare. The next thing you need to do are decide, what are your priorities? What is most important to you? Is it most important that they have one-on-one attention, that they follow a certain schedule? What are you looking for in a childcare situation? So we personally have ended up with a hybrid situation. We went into it wanting a full-time nanny, and there's not lots of nannies in the town we live in, and we're not able to find one. And so we have someone giving our child one-on-one attention 1 day a week. We're using a daycare 3 days a week, and then I'm getting to keep the baby 1 day a week. That's something else I would highly recommend if you have the flexibility of a hybrid work schedule returning to work. It just lets you ease in a little bit. So I am right now only working 4 days a week so that I can get 1 day a week of one-on-one attention with my baby, because the weekends, I don't know where the time goes. I don't know about you, but the weekends fill up really quickly, and I still just want some more of that special bonding time. Next, have a list of questions ready to go. So the questions you're going to need to ask are, what schedule do you follow, and are you flexible or strict in that schedule? And I'm not going to get in here to sleep training or all the different opinions on if you should follow wake windows, if you should follow the moms on call schedule. You know by now what works for you and your family, and ask them how they approach that and see if it lines up with your personal views and opinions and what works for your baby. The next thing you're going to ask, especially if it is a one-on-one babysitter or nanny situation, is, what role do you think a nanny should play in the family? Again, the answer you're looking for is going to be different based on what your priorities are, but you need to find out their philosophy. Do they feel like they should just seamlessly become a part of the family? Do they feel like it should be a little more separated, a little more regimented? So that question, that open-ended question, is going to give you a lot of insight into who that caregiver is as a person. The next question you should ask is, how do you approach discipline? And depending on the ages of your children, you can give examples. So if it's a newborn, I give the example of, if a baby is purple crying and they just will not stop crying, how do you handle that situation? How do you handle that stress? Do not give them options. You want to know truly how they're going to handle that. If you say, would you do X? Would you do Y? The yes or no question is an easy out. You really want to know what they're going to do. So open-ended questions are critical. So how do you handle that? If you're planning on being with this person long-term into the toddler years, ask them how they handle discipline. How do they handle a toddler who refuses to eat? All those situations that are inevitable. No matter if you follow all of the advice on the internet, you're going to get a child who doesn't sleep at some point. At some point, they're going to be a picky eater, and at some point, they're going to misbehave. And you're going to want to know how they handle those three things and if your philosophies line up. Again, open-ended questions, not yes or no questions here. You really want to get to know them as a person. If it is a nanny situation, you're also going to want to dive into how do you handle sickness? So are you willing to come if they have a fever and I still have to go to work? Are you willing to come if there has been an exposure to flu or COVID? What is y'all's comfort level with that? And you want to make sure you're on the same page there. A lot of times people who are looking for nannies are people who have jobs that they just absolutely cannot miss. And so you need to make sure you're on the same page there. And then is there going to be any paid time off? What notice do we need for vacations? If it is full time, how are we going to pay you? Just make sure you're on the same page with all of those issues and that those are ironed out. Now, if you're looking at a daycare situation, here are the things that I've looked at the daycares. Am I allowed to come whenever I want? To me, it is a red flag if a daycare wants only a certain drop-off time and a pickup time. I chose a daycare that lets unexpected drop-ins. I have a mom who still works, but works down the street from the daycare. So she said, if I don't have lunch plans, can I go rock him on his lunch break? I said, absolutely. I know it's a little bit of an inconvenience to them, but when it's your newborn, you still want them to have those bonding opportunities. And even if it's a 1-to-4 ratio, 1-to-3 ratio, if all three babies are crying, they can't hold them all at the same time. So you do want them to allow unexpected drop-ins. I also think surprise visits help your comfort level as a parent. Drop in at 10 o'clock and drop in with an extra bottle, or move your lunch break so you can show up to do one of their feedings. One, that helps you as you adjust to going back to work. But two, showing up at unexpected times helps you know what's really going on at the daycare. They're going to have it really together when everyone's dropping off and picking up. It's those less busy times of day when you're going to get a better idea. I say that for tours too. When you're touring daycares, just show up and say, I'm interested in this daycare. Can you show me around? And if they're busy, you can schedule the tour, but you can say, can I at least see the rooms, or can I at least peek around? Unexpected drop-ins are going to give you the best information about your child. Now the pediatric PT hat comes in, and not just the mom hat. When you're looking at daycares, look at how many devices or containers they have. So if the room is full of jumperoos and bouncers, that's probably not best for their development. The floor is the best place for your child. So are there going to be a few containers? Yes. Is that okay? Yes. Do you want them in them all day long as their babysitter? Absolutely not. So ask them what their policies are. How long do you let them be in the stander? How long do you let them be in the swing or the bouncer? Do you rotate them? Do you do floor time? And again, open-ended questions. Don't say, oh, I heard they shouldn't be in this more than 10 minutes. How long do you leave them in it? They're going to say 10 minutes. Instead, say, what is your approach to play in the baby room? And just let them tell you. And if they say, oh, I toured a daycare once and they said, well, they spend 10 minutes in the swing and then we switch them to the bouncer and then we switch them. And it was clear those babies were just in a circuit of containers all day. And to me, that was just not a good fit at all. The daycare we chose has play mats out. Floor time is included in their schedule. And so that is really important too. And look at what type of toys they have in the room. Are they developmentally appropriate? Are there even toys there? And other parents, do not hesitate to ask to talk to other parents. We have all gone to daycares where we have friends there, but if you're new to the city or touring a daycare that you don't know anyone, ask them, can I talk to a family who's been here, and get their advice about how it has been. I know this is such a scary transition, but those are the things that have helped us the most. An ease-in transition, The first day at daycare is a day where I didn't schedule any meetings so that I could work and maybe this is a little paranoid, but I just want to make sure he takes his bottles, all the things. So I'm working at a coffee shop down the street his first day at the daycare so that if he does not take a bottle, any of those things that can happen, they can call me and I can be there really quickly to help problem solve that. Ultimately, you're looking for a partner, whether that's a daycare, nanny, babysitter, a partner to take care of your child. So communication is really important. How they communicate, make sure that they're giving you information and that y'all problem solve together. And then lastly, joining the workforce is a great thing. I highly, it can be so rewarding. So if you're having those feelings, I definitely have them. With my 5-year-old, one day I said, I'm closing my business. And the next day I called my best friend and said, the space next door came open and we're expanding. And she was like, okay, which one is it? So you're going to feel a lot of push and pull, and that's really normal. And I want to normalize all the feelings that you're feeling. Excited to get adult interaction, excited to get back to work, guilt about leaving your baby, nerves, anxiety. So I highly recommend finding a mom group, finding a support system to work through all those feelings together because they are normal, and we wish you the best of luck. Drop below in the comments things you think we should have included that we didn't, other questions you have, and check out our free daycare resource guide on our Kajabi website.